Okay, great. Well, thank you all for joining us today. Just a few minutes ago, we filed in the House floor an expulsion of George Santos, of Congressman Santos. It's really important for us to recognize that George Santos is a fraud, a liar. He has lied about the most horrific shooting in LGBTQ modern history, the Pulse nightclub shooting. He's lied about 9/11. He's lied about the Holocaust. He's lied about his education. He's lied about his career. And as we all know, just recently, he's been now given classified access to important information and classified information that he should not have. There's been numerous Republicans that have called for his expulsion or resignation from Congress. I want to also note that today myself and the two other freshman members that are LGBTQ, Congresswoman Becca Balint, Congressman Eric Sorensen, have been talking about this expulsion resolution to get George Santos out of Congress. In addition to that, two other members have been leading efforts to really take on George Santos, and of course that has been Congressman Dan Goldman, who's also a freshman, and Congressman Richie Torres. And they have been leading efforts as well with the House Ethics Committee. And so those have been things that have been really important for us, particularly as freshmen and their leadership. And so again, we have filed an official expulsion resolution with the House Ethics Committee to get rid of George Santos. It is time for him to go. We gave him plenty of time to resign, and he has chosen not to do so. So I want to first turn this over to Congresswoman Becca Balint, who's going to say a few words, and then we're going to have a few folks also engaged.
Thank you, Robert. Really happy to be out here today to say that so many of us ran on a platform of shoring up the democracy, of making it possible for Americans to believe in government again. And right now, many of you know we're at an all-time low of confidence in government. 60 years ago, 75% of Americans polled said that they had trust that the government would, most of the time, take care of them, do right by them. Right now, only 2 in 10 Americans will say that. Having George Santos in Congress with us is not at all helping us to rebuild trust in government. And as Robert said, as a proud member of the LGBTQ community, outraged that he lied about the Pulse nightclub shooting, as the granddaughter of someone killed in the Holocaust, outraged that he used that to get elected. And, I didn't ever thought I'd say this, but I stand with Mitt Romney. He has to go.
And Congressman Eric Sorensen?
I stand here today to speak on behalf of those who are trustworthy in our government. I was a kid growing up different in Rockford, Illinois, not thinking that anyone was going to allow me, growing up gay, to be the meteorologist on my television in my hometown. Not only did I get to do that, but over 20 years, I earned the trust of the people that have sent me here to represent them. I'm the very first LGBTQ member of Congress from the state of Illinois, and it happened outside of Chicago. But incredibly, I'm only here because the people have learned that they can trust me. I'm not saying I got the weather right when I was on television every day, but the people could trust me when they had to make life-saving decisions to take their families to the basement because the tornado was real. I stand here with other members of Congress who are trustworthy. We're here to serve the constituents in our districts. We're here to serve the people of the United States of America, and we need to make sure that everyone in this body, in this incredible body of the House of Representatives, does the same. And clearly, there's one of us that does not.
Thank you, Congressman Dan Goldman.
Thank you, Congressman Garcia, and thank you for filing this motion, this resolution rather. It is a shame that it has come to this. It is a shame that the Speaker of the House, the Republican Conference Chairwoman Elise Stefanik, who was George Santos's biggest supporter during his campaign and helped him rehire staff after many resigned because of his lies. It is a shame that they did not ask George Santos to resign from Congress and instead thought that they could stem the wave of opposition based on making him resign from his committees. He should have resigned. He should not be a member of Congress. And we are left with no choice but to put a resolution on the House floor to expel him from Congress. He defrauded his voters. He defrauded the state of New York. He has used in the most shameless fashion his the true monuments, or I should say the true travesties of so many different communities, including the LGBT community and the Pulse nightclub, including the Jewish community, by claiming falsely that he is Jewish in a district that is more than 20% Jewish, and claiming that his ancestors escaped the Holocaust. This is not just a simple liar. This is a con man who does not belong in Congress, and he needs to go. So we will put this resolution on the floor, and we will have an up or down vote on whether or not George Santos, a serial fraudster, belongs as a member of Congress. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Congressman Richard Torres.
You know, yesterday George Santos said that he refuses to go to the back of the room or the back of the bus. And, you know, it's plausible that Mr. Santos is so delusional that he's mistaking himself for Rosa Parks. But he is not a victim here. We're the victim of his fraudulent behavior. You know, Senator Mitt Romney spoke for the majority of Americans. He spoke for both Democrats and Republicans when he referred to George Santos as a sick man. There is something sick about a man who lies about his mother dying on 9/11, who lies about his employees dying in the Pulse mass shooting, who lies about his ancestors surviving the Holocaust, who lies about struggling with brain cancer. There's something sick about a man who not only lies pathologically, but violates almost every law imaginable: House ethics, campaign finance law, securities law. And so we're here to send a clear message that if Kevin McCarthy refuses to hold George Santos accountable, we will. We will hold George Santos accountable for conduct unbecoming of a congressman. We are going to expel George Santos because he is a deep rot at the very core of the United States Congress. In a country of 330 million people, only 535 have the high honor of serving in the United States Congress. One of those people should not be George Santos, period.
Absolutely. And just to conclude, we want to just also note that Congressman Torres, Congresswoman Ballant, Congressman Sorensen, myself, we're all LGBTQ. And George Santos, of course, is gay, we think. And he has disgraced our community. And what we hear within our community is a huge disgust and shame for his behavior and his lies within our own community. So it's important for us as gay people, as queer people,
Minus Dan Goldman.
of course, and an ally, which with Mr. Goldman, to take on really this liar and this fraud. And so this has already been filed today. We look forward to working. We've been talking to, of course, to House Republicans. We already know many of those who have already asked for his resignation, and so we're going to get this onto the floor, and we're going to expel George Santos. So thank you very much. Are there any quick questions?
Why not wait for an indictment or for ethics to bring charges?
Well, I think it's pretty clear, obviously, that he's violated campaign finance rules. He's violated ethics rules. I mean, he's practically admitted to them. And he is lying about everything that we know him as a person. And so it's pretty obvious that the time to expel him is now. He had plenty of time to resign, and he's chosen not to.
Why not wait until you get Republicans to sign on board with this?
Well, I would just add one thing. The law doesn't actually preclude him from lying about his education, his employment history, his religion, any of the other, his qualifications for the job. The law is very focused on financial disclosures and campaign finances. And he should be held accountable because even his own statements have revealed that his financial disclosures are false. But we cannot wait for him to be indicted or for an ethics investigation, because those things will not address the things that he has already admitted to lying about. He is a serial liar who does not have the trust of his constituents, 78% of whom have said that he should not be in Congress and should resign, and he does not have any credibility to walk these halls of Congress. He does not belong here.
And his own constituents, by the way, and Congressman Goldman and Congressman Torres know this, they've called for his expulsion and resignation. And so we've heard that from his constituents.
Why not wait until you get Republicans?
Have you spoken to any Republicans to get them on board with this resolution?
I mean, there's been obviously almost, I think, 10 Republicans that have called for his resignation, and so that's something that we're all going to be working on.
Also, the majority of House Republicans in New York have called for George Santos to resign, and Mr. Goldman and I just had a meeting with the governor, the New York delegation. George Santos was not invited. Like, his colleagues want nothing to do with him, his constituents want nothing to do with him. He's persona non grata to every single Republican except the leadership that's protecting him.
That was a bipartisan delegation of New York Congress members.
And bottom line, he was elected under false pretenses. That's right. We don't need to wait for an indictment.
That's right. Any other questions?
Yeah, are you just worried about any kind of precedents this might set in the future if Republicans decide that a Democrat's a liar?
Yeah,
this is an unprecedented person. I mean, there's nothing that we know about him that we know is truthful. He's lied literally about his entire background, and so I think this is an unprecedented moment, and the House should come together to expel him.
We also do want to set a precedent for excluding a future George Santos. That's the kind of precedent we want to set.
And
Absolutely.
I can guarantee that all 5 of us would be standing here. We wouldn't need to be standing here if there was a Democrat who lied up and down like George Santos did. We as Democrats would never accept this within our own party, and it's time for the Republican Party to do the right thing.
Absolutely. Any other final questions? I have not personally spoken directly to him. I've passed him in the halls, but we have not checked it. I look forward to talking to him. I tell him to his face that he should be expelled.
Has anyone else spoken with him?
He's attacked me on Twitter. I think, what did he say? Stop obsessing about me, I'm married. I will admit that I'm fully obsessed with driving Mr. Santos out of Congress because he has no business being here.
Have you guys communicated with Leader Jeffries about this? Because Jeffries has said repeatedly that he thinks that Santos is Republicans' mess for them to clean up and not for the Democrats to handle.
Yes, absolutely. So we've been actually talking to the leader, and so he's aware of what's happening today.
You don't think you can get 70 Republicans onto this, though, do you?
I think we should. I think we're going to work to get 7 Republicans. We're going to work to expel them. I think that's the goal.
But regardless of where the Republicans, the American people have a right to know where each and every member of Congress stands with respect to George Santos. Right? It's one thing to condemn him behind the scenes. It's something else to force a vote and see where everyone stands. I think we need transparency.
Absolutely.
We need to restore the full faith and trust of the government that is representing the people.
We want to vote on this, regardless of the outcome.
Absolutely. I think we should, and we're going to demand a vote. And I think at the end of the day, we want to know also where Kevin McCarthy stands. I mean, clearly he's giving them access to classified briefings, unacceptable. So it's time to expel George Santos.
And one last thing that related to Kevin McCarthy and Elise Stefanik, they have not asked him to resign. Now, some people have said that's because they have such a narrow majority, but there's been extensive reporting that they both were aware of George Santos's lies during the campaign. And the question then is, are they not asking him to resign because they are worried about what their involvement was and that might come out? So that's an open question that has yet to be answered. They have not addressed that.
And Kevin McCarthy forced him out of his committee. We're just saying, why stop there? We should force him out of Congress.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.